I have spent the last 9 hours playing through Arknights Endfield, and as such, I feel that I'm in a pretty decent position to where I can give a good sense of a first impression on the game, and maybe give you an idea of whether or not you want to try it yourself. Before talking about Arknights Endfield specifically, I think it's worth talking about the company that made it. For those of you unfamiliar, Arknights Endfield is made by the company Hypergriff, and they have already previously made a game in the Arknights franchise called, well, Arknights. The original Arknights was a tower defense mobile game, and honestly, it is probably one of the better gacha games that are out there. There was a lot of content that you could play through, there was a decent amount of rewards for playing through that content, and honestly, overall, it felt like there was a lot of care put into the game by the developers. After playing through Arknights Endfield for the last 9 hours like I just mentioned, I'm starting to get that same vibe from this game as well. It really does feel like there's a lot of care put into the game by the people that made it. So today, I kind of want to go through and give my thoughts on all the different systems that I've experienced in the last 9 hours that I've been playing, from the pull system to the different paid systems, how the gacha works, the graphics of the game, how the world and the factory system that's in it feel to explore and play with, the combat, and, well, a whole bunch of other stuff too. So if you're interested, feel free to lock in. If you are not currently playing the game, feel free to click my link down in the description below and download it to get started. It is a very good game, well worth your time, and I hope you do try it. Thanks to Arknights for sponsoring this video. I think before anything, what I need to talk about is the gacha, and then the paid systems and the pull economy that go along with that gacha. The gacha for this game has been heavily doom posted, but after seeing the amount of currency that you can get just by playing the game, looking at the offerings for paid currency that you can get if you're willing to be a spender for the game, it really doesn't seem as bad as all the doom posters are making it out to be. To start, I think it's worth talking about how the gacha feels to interact with. First and foremost, there are two concurrent systems going on every single time that you roll for a character, and it kind of looks like this. For one, there is a pity system, and the pity system is what you're used to in most of the other mainstream gachas nowadays, like Genshin, Wuwa, Honkai Star Rail, all that kind of stuff. Basically, every 80 pulls that you do, you are guaranteed a 50-50 to get the rate-up character or one of the standard characters. Soft pity for that starts at 65, and every single pull after 65 increases your odds by 5% all the way up to 80 where it's guaranteed. So that is what is considered the normal part of the system. The non-normal part of the system is the Spark system, which is more traditional to really older types of gacha games. With this system, this is basically separate from the pity. No matter what, every 80 pulls you do, you will hit a 5-star. It's not guaranteed to be the rate up, but you will hit a 5-star. With the Spark system, they go beyond the 80 pity all the way up to 120, and when you hit 120, that is when you are guaranteed your character. The important thing to note about the Spark system is that unlike the pity that carries between banners, the Spark system does not. So what that means is that if you are not absolutely positive that you can either get 120 pulls during the banner, or you already have 120 pulls, you should not pull on a banner, period. Because theoretically, what could happen is that you pull from 0 to 80, you hit your 50-50, and you lose. Then you could pull from 80 to 119, not get anyone, run out of currency, and then you won't be able to get the character, and on the next banner you roll, that will have reset. The biggest advice that I can give, and I really do hope that all of you that are watching this video follow this advice, is that you do not pull on any banner unless you want the character and you also have 120 pulls. Apart from that, I think it is worth talking about the things that you can actually get from the gacha. So for one, there's 3 rarities of characters in this game, which is pretty different from, the kind of stuff that you see in Hoyo games or Wuthering Waves or whatever, which only has 5 and 4 stars. In this game, there are 4 stars, there are 5 stars, and there are 6 stars, with 6 stars obviously being like, the premium ones that are super limited and that kind of stuff. What a system like that does is it immediately gives you characters that you can max out and are valuable to your account. So by maxing characters out, you increase their stats, you give them extra buffs, and all of that is completely free because you'll get them literally probably within, I don't know, maybe 30 pulls on a banner, which is pretty good. Apart from the 4 stars, there are the 5-star characters, some of which are free and some of which are gacha only. And for these characters, they are generally better than the 4-star ones, but even then, you can still use the 4 stars in some teams, and honestly, they're recommended in some of the current teams. And lastly, there are 6 stars, which I currently don't have yet, but those are like I said, the big mega limited characters that are going to be the superpowers on your account. When you are rolling for your 6-star characters, something that is very unique to this game that I have honestly never seen in another game is that as you are rolling for the rate up limited banner character, you actually can lose your 50-50s to other limited characters that will be showing up on future banners. And this is really important to note. So Gilberta that you can see here and Yvonne that you can see here are both other characters that will be released later in the 1.0 patch for Arknights Endfield. But if you happen to lose on your way to getting Leviathan, who is the current rate-up character, you can actually lose to those characters despite their banners not even existing yet. And the standard characters in the game are the ones that you see here, which obviously does not include Yvonne or Gilberta. So that is another benefit to the system. So that is basically how the gacha works. As I mentioned just a bit ago, reminder, do not pull on the limited banner, which currently is Leviathan, if you do not have 120 pulls. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. I will say Leviathan is kind of the one exception to that rule because she is the first character, and during her banner, as long as you play the game, you are guaranteed 120 pulls, but that may not be the case going forward. We don't know yet. Something that I forgot to mention earlier that's related to the gacha and is also very important is that the weapons that your characters use in this game aren't actually something that you have to spend premium currency for, technically. And what I mean by technically is that as you pull in this game on the rate-up character or the standard banner or even the beginner banner, you get a special currency called the arsenal ticket. What these arsenal tickets let you do is then spend to roll on an entirely separate weapon banner where you can get whatever weapon for the rate-up character is that you want. To be clear here, you get that currency just by rolling for the character. So if you roll for Leviathan because you really like her and she's super hot,
she's disgusting.
you'll be able to get the arsenal tickets, and then you can also roll on her weapon banner. Alongside that, if you are not interested in rolling on a banner, like you're not really interested in putting up your chances into the RNG gods and stuff like that, you can actually directly buy weapons with the arsenal tickets. So if I really wanted to, if I don't want to use this weapon specifically for Surtur, or I don't want to spend my arsenal tickets on that, I could buy a 5-star weapon for 400 here, or I can spend a little bit more than a 10 roll would cost on the weapon banner, which is 1980, to just buy a 6-star weapon. It's obviously not going to be as good as their signature, but it will do the job more than well enough, and in my opinion, that makes it very free-to-play player friendly, which is only a good thing. Like, there is nothing bad you can say about a system like this, other than maybe the fact that if you get the character early, then you won't really have enough arsenal tickets to roll on their weapon too. But let's be real here, can you really complain that you got the character early? Moving on from that, so that brings me to my next point, which is the pull economy. As it currently stands, from what we know in the betas of the game, there is actually enough currency available if you do literally everything in the game to where you can get 2 limited characters within the first patch. So if you want to get Leviathan, you can, as long as you play the game enough. If you want to go in here and you want to get Yvonne or Gilberta when their banners come up, you can, as long as you play the game enough. After that point, like I said, we really don't know. So all we can do is kind of hope that, the currency will stay pretty good. But that brings me to my next point, which is how much it costs to actually buy characters. You're going to be in for a bit of a treat here if you are someone that spends on any gacha game. Like in every gacha game, they have a paid currency, and that is this yellow stuff. That yellow stuff can be converted into this red stuff, which is the quote-unquote free currency. You can also get some of this paid currency just by doing stuff in the world, whether that's opening chests, exploring, leveling up, all that kind of stuff, but it is finite. So when you run out of the yellow currency, what you're left with is obviously spending money, or the red currency that you're going to get through events, weeklies, dailies, and all that other kinds of stuff. Something that is really important to note is the price tag that you might be seeing in the bottom here. These are much lower than anything you see in other mainstream gacha games, whether that is Hoyoverse games like HSR, Genshin, or whatever, or even Wuthering Waves and stuff like that. In their games, it is always a $100 pack, and in this game, it's obviously 70. So what all this translates to is that when you want to pull on a character, it costs 5,000 of the red currency to pull, and each of your gold currency is worth 75 reds. So if you want to guarantee a banner character, if you want to do some quick maths and you start with 0 currency, period, it will take you 60,000 red currency to hit 120, or alternatively 800 gold currency to hit 120. So if you are someone that spends on the game and you go into here and you want to buy these packs, after the double is gone, these packs go down in the free bonus amount. So if you spend $70 after the first double bonus, you don't get 194 plus 194, you get 194 plus 48, which totals up to 242. If you do some quick maths there, basically what you'll end up with is that the cheapest way to hit 120 pulls is to buy 3 of these packs for $70, and then you buy 1 of this pack, after the double is gone, and then you buy one of this pack. Or in other words, it totals up to $240. So not to glaze a gacha here, because at the end of the day, it's $240. That is still a crazy amount. It is actually better to spend money on this game, or I guess more valuable to spend money on this game than it is in Hoyo games, because you quote unquote get more bang for your buck. So if a Hoyo game is $300 and this one is $240, obviously that is nice, but at the end of the day, it's still $240. Don't spend on gacha games. So beyond that point, I think it is worth talking about something else here, which is just the game, right? I spent a lot of time talking about the gacha and that kind of stuff, but there is a lot of game beyond the gacha, which is crazy, I know, considering what you probably might have heard prior to the game launch, with all the people doom posting and saying, oh, this game is dead on arrival, the gacha sucks, the gacha's too confusing, and all that kind of stuff. There is a lot more to a gacha game than just the gacha. It's crazy, but it's true. So, moving on from that, I think that it is probably worth talking about how beautiful this game actually is. I'm just going to walk around for a little bit while I'm talking here, but this game is genuinely, easily one of the best looking gacha games out there. I think the only fair comparison to this game right now would probably be Wuthering Waves or maybe Zenless Zone Zero, but Zenless Zone Zero is hyper stylized, so it's not exactly the same as this game. For one, there's a pretty sizable world, relatively high fidelity graphics, and then on top of that, you have all the characters. And I want to just point something out here because this is kind of insane. These characters are extremely detailed. If you go to this other character, they're wearing a sweater, right? If you go look at them, like you can literally see the fibers of the sweater if you zoom in close enough. And quite frankly, that is crazy. It's basically bringing the gacha market from something that people don't put a lot of like value into to something that is potentially as good as, if not better in quality than AAA games that are currently out on the market. Like, I don't know who in their right mind could look at a character model like this, or this, or this, or even look at the world around here and say, yeah, this looks terrible. It just doesn't. Like, it frankly, objectively, it just doesn't. It looks great. So if you are interested in good graphics and something like that, then this is definitely the game for you because it's got quite a lot. The other thing that's worth mentioning about the graphics is that this game can run on a potato. It is very well optimized. It's not on Unreal Engine 5, it's on Unity, and Hypergriff did a fantastic job of optimizing this game so that it feels smooth pretty much regardless of whatever device you're running on. So definitely keep that in mind. It is open to pretty much anyone to play, whether you're on a high-end gaming rig, whether you're on, a potato laptop, or whether you're on a mobile phone, it still runs very well. So on the note of talking about how the world looks, I think it's also worth talking about how the world feels to interact with. For one, you might have noticed it, but as I'm looking around here, there's these different lines that are going throughout the world, and those are my power lines that connect to my main factory. Basically, as you're exploring the world, you're not just exploring it for the sake of exploring it, like you might in Genshin or whatever, where you're doing it to collect a chest or something like that. In this game, you're actually exploring for the purpose of developing your world. So, like I just mentioned, there is a power system where you can connect your main factory to a lot of different locations, and that's used to solve puzzles, it's used to open up new parts of the map, and other stuff like that, but it's also used for travel. So that thing right there is actually a zip line that can connect you to different parts of the map. On top of that, each location that you go to in the world will have its own separate factory that you can interact with. And in those different regions, there's different things that you can do in them. So for example, in this one, I'm refining different pieces of ore, whereas in, say, this region up here, maybe I'm refining a different piece of ore, because this is a different factory that I can work with. Like I said, the whole point of the game and exploring in it is to develop your world, right? You want to get to one place faster than another? Okay, set up a zipline for it. You want to have one item being produced in mass volume? Okay, go to one of your regions and set up a factory for it. And you can do that by using the automated systems in the game. So there's refining units, there's shredding units, there's different conveyor belts that'll transfer items in and out of those different systems. And then, like I said, there's also the different power lines that you use to take all your power around the map and all that kind of stuff. But that's not all, because as you're exploring the world, you are also going to run into different monsters around it. So you're also going to be running into the different enemies around the world. And the combat in this game is really interesting because it breaks down into a lot of different parts. All of them are very cool in my opinion. So, for one, just like in a lot of other gacha games, there is an elemental system. So this character has this yellow symbol, that means they're an electric character. This character has a cryo symbol. This character also has a cryo symbol. She has a physical symbol. She has a nature symbol and other stuff like that. Each one of those different elements all can be put together to create different reactions. So for example, if you combine the nature element with, say, the fire element, you'll get a burn. If you combine, let's say, the physical element with the cryo element, you might apply a debuff and other stuff like that. So when you're designing your different teams, you're essentially designing your team around the idea that you want to have a specific element and reaction that comes from that element. Alongside that though, each and every character in this game has something unique called a combo skill. And what a combo skill basically is that it gives you a specific task that you have to complete, and once you complete that task, you get a free trigger for a skill. So for example, Perlica, who is this character, when you complete a basic attack chain, so literally just going like this, and once this is done, she will automatically trigger her combo skill. So I can maybe show you that here, hold on. Assuming these guys don't die because they're level 6. So let me see. If I can finish my chain attack here, there you go. You see that E button there? That is Perlica's combo skill, so now all I have to do is tap E, and she uses a skill. On top of that skill, there is also actual character skills. So for example, if I am playing this character, they have a pari. So if I press the button to use their skill, this is the pari. On this character, this is Perlica once again, they summon like a rock, or a lightning strike rather. And then like this character, I don't think I have skill points. Okay, I do. They have like an electric spin attack. So there's stuff like that. So basically, when you are designing your team, not only are you considering the elements that your characters have, you're also considering the combo skills that they can do and how to trigger them. And on top of that, you're also considering how they play together, because certain characters might play well together and other characters might not. At least in my opinion, that adds a lot of depth to the game, because not only can you do, for example, mono element teams, like at a full electro team or a full cryo team or something like that, you could even do something like out of the 4 characters on your team, 2 of them are there to set up a debuff with their combo skills and actual skills, and then the other 2 are there to benefit from that debuff. So for example, if you do whatever combo you need to do to lower the enemy's defense, and then your other 2 characters apply a dot, then those 2 characters that apply the dot will benefit directly from the defense. And that's a team comp. Congratulations. Apart from that though, you can actually build your team specifically around combo skills like I was talking about earlier. So for example, the team that I'm running is an electro-focused combo skill team. So in this team, what happens is this is the guy that I on field. And whenever he completes a basic attack chain, he will automatically trigger Perlica, who is this character's combo skill. Alongside that, his basic skill as well as his ult increase the damage of electric attacks. So whenever he triggers Perlica's combo skill, she immediately does an attack and then applies electric infliction, which is her debuff. When electric infliction is on an enemy, I can then go to this character, Aviwena, who benefits from electro application being applied, because once it is applied to the enemy, the next basic attack chain you do, not only will Perlica proc her combo skill, but Aviwena will too. So basically, it revolves around playing this guy on field until I can trigger a combo skill to apply a debuff, which then lets me trigger her combo skill, which then buffs her default skill. And then wow, I have a whole combo, and that is just one team in the entire game. Right? That's just this team, but you can also run a physical team, right? In this team, there's another debuff called like lift up, and there's another one called vulnerable, and then you can also crush the enemy. And all 3 of those things are all different things that these physical characters do. So if you want to, you can set up combo skills and an entire rotation built around those in the same way that you can around the electric team. In my opinion, this results in a really fun experience, because not only do you have to think about what you're actually doing when you're designing your team, you also have to think about how you're playing the team as you're doing it, because you can't just button mash and hope you kill the enemy with your skills and stuff like that, because if you don't do the right thing to trigger their combo skills, then you're missing a massive chunk of your team's damage. So at least for me, that has been playing a lot of the modern age gacha games like Hoyo and Wuwa and stuff like that, where it basically is a lot of button mashing, this feels like a breath of fresh air and is really fun, at least so far. So I've kind of just gone through a lot of different topics here, but all of them are fairly important. On one hand, you've got the gacha system, which while convoluted, boils down to just don't pull unless you really want the character and have 120 pulls. On top of that, the pull economy, at least for now, seems to be decent, but it will remain to be seen if it stays good long term. And if you are a paid player, the packs seem to be good, at least compared to other titles that are in the similar genre. So that's the gacha and stuff like that. The game, genuinely, it looks beautiful. From the characters to the world to everything else, it looks great. And then the combat has been a massive plus for me, at least so far. And all in all, I am genuinely really enjoying the game, and I do not regret the last 9 hours that I've spent on it. This is definitely, like I said, very out of the ordinary for the kinds of videos that I normally do, but for those of you that made it here to the end, I really do appreciate it. As usual, thank you so much for watching, subscribe, and if you haven't already, maybe my other, more normal videos a shot too.